And now is the time when things are shifting. There's gonna be a new world order out there. And we gotta lead it.
True internet suffered depression.
You are fake news.
I am not suicidal.
We'll circle back with you directly. I can circle back. I'll circle back with you.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Hello and welcome to episode 283 of the Jeffrey and Brian Show. I am Jeffrey.
And I'm Brian.
We're just two guys drinking some beer, talking what's going on. Some stuff went down this week, Brian.
Yep.
I mean, we got a new pope.
Yep.
Uh,
Kind of quick. I mean, I think when Francis came in, it took him like a couple of weeks to decide on him.
yeah, 4 votes. It only took 4 votes to come to this guy, but we will get into that. We got to do some follow-up before we get into what's going on with the pope. All right, so I brought this up a dozen times. I even said that this could have been what happened in Puerto Rico and in Spain, France, and Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
Scientists apparently in January came out and said the North Pole is wobbling more than usual. It's far out into Siberia now, where magnetic north is. Actually, earlier this year, almost everyone's GPS devices had an update because of this. So I thought that was just saying, keep an eye on this stuff. You think I'm nuts because you've never seen it happen in your life, but we know that as a fact this happens. And an issue with the magnetosphere could easily cause power problems.
Right.
Especially if the solar radiation comes through, it could fry all of our electronics on the entire planet. Well, Massachusetts found a 12th or 11th and 12th body from this New England possible serial killer. Now, I will say that one of these has been solved. So 11 possibly attached to this possible serial killer. The funny thing is, I'm hearing a lot of people say it's not a serial killer. Why are you trying to terrify people? I'm like, well, what's worse, one killer on the loose or 12? But no one seems to want to talk about this. One of these bodies was found down the street from my sister's house in Plymouth.
Uh-huh.
Kind of crazy. And now I guess Mandy Moore is complaining about the issues in Los Angeles concerning rebuilding after these fires.
Yeah.
So these lefties who were
We
saying
knew
that
what was going to happen.
we were talking about this right away while the fires are still happening. And all these people are like, oh, you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. Like, no, we're paying attention. You called us evil names, and now you're complaining about the same shit, forgetting that the other guy said the same thing before you.
Right.
And Mandy Moore, it says Tangled star Mandy Moore. She did a lot more than just cartoon movies for children. All right. This next one here, an intro. Did you share this one? Hope Walls, Tim Walls' daughter.
I believe so.
Yeah. Tell me about how going out for a jog is privileged.
That's a good question.
Apparently it's ableist.
Yeah, she's you're running with your legs. Your apolitical privileged act in a rant against it was all about influencers.
This is ridiculous.
TikTok video.
These idiots want you to be fat and disgusting, sitting on your couch, stuffing your face with Twinkies, so they can get you on. Because then you need socialized healthcare because you obviously can't afford to take care of yourself, right?
Right.
They want the government to take control of every aspect of your life. They're saying exercising is privileged.
Yeah.
Shit, you remember during the COVID lockdowns, they actually said critical thinking is a bad thing. That came from the New York Times.
I remember I was able to buy all the rum I wanted because it was essential.
Rum?
Rum. Yeah, I was drinking like 2 handles of rum like a week by myself.
Oh my God. That's a lot of rum, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was killing the COVID.
It's funny because it's typically not stiff enough to kill stuff, but sure.
That's what I use for the justification of it.
Salt Lake City, that's in Utah, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
Mormon country.
yes. Well, Utah passed a law saying you can't fly any flag that's not official government business from a government building.
Okay.
So to get around this, a couple cities have gone and made the pride flag their official flag.
And what are they
Uh,
gonna do after Pride Month? They're gonna change their official flag back?
it's just it's getting to the point where it's like, what about the American people? What about your citizens instead of
They don't care.
the small piece of the population? Because tell you what, folks, the LGBTQIAARP community is not getting you elected.
No,
There's not enough of
they're
them.
not enough people. Yeah.
But these folks they push it and they push it and they push it. Just like this illegal immigration crap. You are not winning votes on this. 80% of Americans want to get rid of these illegal migrants. And like this is the hill the Democrats have chose to die on. And
It's a dumb hill.
I know, and I'm hoping to see some reform coming from the Democrats, but the couple guys trying to do it are getting ripped apart by both parties now, like Newsom.
Yeah.
And make fun of Newsom all you want, but at least he's trying to talk to the other side of the aisle, And apparently Eric Adams was on. Speaking of Eric Adams, he's the mayor of New York City, right?
Yeah.
He was on Piers Morgan, and Morgan finally just asked me, he's like, "Why don't you just join the GOP?"
Because he's scared.
Essentially, what he said, yes, but he's like, "Well, just because I don't like the Democrats doesn't mean I'm a Republican." Like, yeah, I get that, but the Democrats are coming to get you. Um, I don't know.
Nah. And they have been.
Yeah, his career is over in politics, I think, in general. After what's going on, I mean, they're trying to put him in prison just like they tried to do to Trump.
Right. I think Trump's going to pardon him on the federal crimes.
Won't stop New York from charging him, will it?
No. We learned that when New York put their 52 felonies on Trump.
Yes.
Or
Yes, and we
whatever
have
number it was. I don't know exact number.
it was 52 or 54, but the problem was,
It was stupid number. And it was,
well, none
and they
of them
had
would
to
have.
like change the statute of limitations on the charges in order to make them felony charges.
Well, not just that, they had to
They had to
get him
jump
on
through a bunch
another.
of hoops.
They had to get him on another crime and say all these other crimes were in cover up of
Related.
the initial crime.
Yeah.
But then they never defined what the initial crime was.
Of course not. Because they
So, like,
don't
the
know what the
jury-
initial crime was.
And you bring this up to the Dems, they're like, because you're like, oh, he was convicted of this and this. And it's like, so what exactly was he convicted of? Like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, it does matter because it was made up. As you guys are flipping out about judges getting arrested for harboring illegal migrants and gang members,
Yep.
no one's above the law, right?
Not unless you're a Democrat.
And I guess this real ID thing is coming into effect pretty soon.
It already has.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Went in effect this week.
Sure. The TSA now is saying if you don't have a real ID or a passport, you better show up 3 hours before the flight. And I got furious when I read this article because they've been telling me to show up 3 hours before my flight anyway. And then I sit there with my thumb in my ass for 2.5 hours.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, because I got pre-check already. So.
Which is ridiculous. You get to skip the TSA line by
No,
paying money.
you're paying money for the TSA line, but it's pre-9/11 TSA line. So you're allowed to keep your shoes on, you're allowed to leave your laptop in your bag, and you're allowed to just go through the screening process like a normal fucking human being.
Well, if it's such an issue, we have to check people because of sneaker bombs and razor blades hidden in laptops. Why are we letting people get through without checking this at all? It's like, oh, you can just bribe them and get through the stuff that we're saying is an issue.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And you fly enough to pay for that garbage?
It's like $75 for 5 years, so it's like $15 a year. It's not.
That's not so bad.
And you fly once or twice, it's paid for itself. I love the convenience of not having to take my fucking shoes off to go through the airport screening. Let alone that's worth it for me, just that alone.
I get that, and I would have done the same
if you flew more often.
It just drives me nuts. And before I move into local, I want to go back into some Massachusetts stuff here.
All right. We love Massachusetts.
Yes, I got this notice in the mail sent to my address in West Virginia, no forwarding label on it. So they knew I didn't live in Massachusetts, right?
Right.
It's not like they tried to send it to me and they're like, oh no, we got to forward it. They've issued a warrant
For your
to
arrest?
collect my taxes. Notice of warrant to collect taxes.
Okay, I got a question.
They're
Can
mad
they?
right away to give it up.
No. Can they collect your income taxes from federal or from West Virginia?
Maybe, but not necessarily.
I would think they'd have to jump through more hoops to. I mean, if you were filing taxes in Massachusetts, sure, they can just take whatever you get for a refund because it's Massachusetts versus Massachusetts. But since you don't live there anymore, what legal right do they have to go after your new state taxes or your federal taxes?
Well, this is definitely the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Office of the Deputy Collector of Taxes. Notice of warrant to collect your taxes, Town of Pembroke, and then it goes on to all sorts of stuff here. But I'm pissed. I've been here about a
Oh,
year.
yeah.
I don't understand how this is happening. And you know what? Massachusetts has done some real crazy stuff with me more than once in my life, and it's really starting to bother me.
You're getting some PTSD from them, huh?
Mm. Oh, feel very warm. All right. Cicadas are coming out.
Not in Virginia.
No, I thought they were coming out over there too.
Well, not this part of Virginia, probably Northern Virginia.
Possibly. But yeah, it's mm, no, Virginia. At least it's colored the right like it is, but uh yeah, it's like 7 states or something. Whole bunch of them. I don't know.
But
I haven't seen
Guapo
them.
knows all about the cicadas.
Nope. That's not
What did we
good.
used to call them?
Cicadas?
Yeah, we used to have another name for them. Can't remember what they are.
Whiny little bitches.
Yeah. Oh, and they get loud.
Yeah. Well, the different types of them too.
Yes, this is a 12-year cycle.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And out here they have stocked 68 more waters, including creeks and rivers in West Virginia for everyone to go fishing at.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Guapo, you shared this next one here.
I know. I thought it was crazy because I heard something about the earthquake or something. It wasn't an earthquake. The seismograph in the college picked up the Metallica, Baby Buddy bouncing and stuff like that.
Yeah, Metallica actually vibrated the earth and got seismographs to pick it up. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That is
know.
insane.
At the age, is still rocking hard. I think this is the first time in Virginia too. They were in like a Virginia college or something like that. I forgot the name of the town.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And what's up with this message in a bottle?
I don't know.
Yeah, this 70 years later, after these people put this message in a bottle off of Cape Hatteras, it's been found. I was trying to find a semi-positive story for a change.
Yeah. Do you know what's in the bottle? Like what it
Right.
says or anything?
I'm looking.
Yeah. I mean, 70 years ago, I mean, geez Louise. That could have come from Australia and floated slowly across the world, you know?
That'd be quicker with a boomerang, boys.
Yes.
It had a date on the message from 1956, and it had Betsy Willis's name on, who was this person's neighbor.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
All right, well, let's move on to the Pope.
The Pope. White smoke, white smoke, white smoke.
You know what's funny is I had the same thing in my head. White smoke is reported at the
And then
like
all the
in
memes started coming out, like white smoke was reported at McDonald's because the ice cream machines were working.
Good, thank you. You're
Guapo put
welcome.
one out guava horn out of them all like at the grill cooking up chicken or something.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What? Check it out. They got an American to be the Pope.
Technically,
North American.
He's from
he's
no, he's
an
from
American.
Chicago.
He's American citizen, but how long has he lived in Peru?
Most of his life.
He went there when he was 30.
Most of his adult life, he's lived outside of the United States.
I'm
Tuesday
just
when
saying.
he was 30.
Even Peruvian consider him Peruvian.
Exactly. He's got dual citizenship with Peru.
He was born in Chicago, is all I'm saying.
Never
And
thought I'd
it's-
see the
And I'm not
coast
disputing that fact, but the only reason he got elected Pope as the first quote unquote American president is because he spent most of his adult life in another country.
Yeah, here his
There is no way the Cardinals would have ever elected him Pope if he was like a truly American Pope.
Maybe. I was just surprised because there was like a 1% chance he was going to get the position, and it only took him 4 votes to come
Well,
up
he
with
he was like the Secretary of State of the Vatican, so he was primed for the
Yeah.
position
Yeah, he did keep moving up.
quickly.
Sounds like a rigged job, and it's quick too. So
Yeah, well,
smoothly.
I guess he's looking to update or build the bridge with Trump or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about this guy, honestly, because let's be real. How many people know a whole bunch about the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know who they are, basically. I mean, or what one is, but seems like this guy, like, well, he took the name Leo the third, 14.
14.
Yeah, the last time Leo was used was like in the 1800s.
Yes, and he was more conservative than Francis, because he could have picked Francis II or something. But we'll see how this all works out.
Mm.
Oh, there you go. That's
Well,
actually
the
what the
good
next.
news, whenever we go to communion now, you can get a choice of blue ranch or blue cheese with dipping.
Okay. And it's funny because this other one, that this 1,000-year-old prophecy.
Yep,
I almost brought this up last week.
I did too.
Yeah, there was this prophecy made 1,000 years ago of how many more popes there would be before the church fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one Peter left.
Yeah, and it's like this guy. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know. It's tough to make a prediction to the future. But apparently this is like hidden in the bottom of the Vatican somewhere in their archives, you know? So, all right. What's this? I will not stop. Dem Republic representatives hijack hearing after Scott Dissent fails to give her answer. Oh, is this shoot. Yeah, I saw this. He asked her, is this the one about Harriet Tubman?
Yep.
Mm.
She asked about a $20 bill with Harriet Tubman on it, and he's like, honestly, I don't know. Like, this was how many years ago was this
That
brought
was
up the first time?
DEI.
But was this end of Obama, early Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't Biden do anything about it? Instead, this Dem throws a shit fit and refuses to accept his answers. He's like, oh, I'll get my staff to call you. He's like, my staff ain't gonna blah, 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 blah. I asked you. And he's like, I fucking know. This is like a 15-year-old thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who gives a shit?
Nobody.
Nobody.
That's why it's not really an issue.
Exactly. What's this one? Oh yeah, the Democrats are trying to block the bipartisan crypto legislation. And it's funny because they're using the filibuster, which is an old Jim Crow technique.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious watching these guys speak out of both sides of their mouth and I have no idea what they're saying. And what's worse is the American citizen has no idea what they're talking about either.
No.
And it's like, well, that's not how it works. Like, actually, it is. Just like my sister got into a big argument with me once about separation of church and state. And I was like, where does everyone get that from? She goes, oh, the Constitution.
The Constitution?
So I was like, I handed her my copy. I was like, find it for me. And she's like, what? And I was like, it's not in there. Like, it's not. You're talking about the Federalist letters. And these folks have no idea what they're talking about. Shoot, I put something on Facebook recently how people should pay attention to the Constitution before they say something's unconstitutional. And this dude Sean was like, maybe you should yourself, considering you're at the job you used to have. It's like, yeah, dude, I have a copy of it right here. I know what it says.
Right.
Like I even brought up what Guapo mentioned, Article 1, Section 9, Paragraph 2. And he went and looked up and was like, oh, that sounds stupid. I was like, that's the Constitution, buddy. Okay. So it is completely constitutional for the president to kick people out of this country.
Without habeas corpus.
Yeah, exactly. You can just suspend habeas corpus. And Lincoln did it, right?
Mhm.
And
Did Trump do it?
Not
Yeah,
yet,
he's
but I
about
think
think about it. But I think that's yeah.
FDR did too, didn't he?
I don't know. I think yeah, I think he did for the fucking for the Japanese and stuff.
Yeah, for the Japanese internment camps and
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller was talking a bit about the other day.
Yeah.
Suspend habeas corpus.
Yeah, they're talking about it, and it's a little terrifying, honestly, because that could get out of control quickly. And it makes me wish that these Democrats would just be like, okay, like we're gonna lose this anyway. Why bother getting to the point where they can do whatever the F they want?
Yeah. Well, I joined all these bloody Democratic Party sites now, mate. Geez, I'm getting a heaps. I never realised there's about 1,500 ways to spell MAGA. I'm getting called all these names under the sun. It's just so funny, eh?
Right?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I wrote down on one comment, I said, Trump's still got 2,930,000 bloody more illegals to deport before he catches up to Obama. One person had no idea that Obama bloody was doing all these deportations, eh?
Well, that's the thing. Is nobody
realizes that. Nobody cares.
Exactly. You say Obama called himself the deporter in chief, and like, no, you play a video. Like, well, that was different. I'm like, it's right here. Obama sent these folks back without a trial. Why was that acceptable? But it's an abomination that Trump is doing it.
And just all political, though.
No, it's not even political. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
They're hearing some guy on the news who's clearly lying to people, and they just believe it because they don't pay attention. You could ask them what happened 2 weeks ago, and they couldn't tell you.
It's only when their party's not in power, mate, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. And now MT Jean, which she's a 3-term senator, I think.
I thought she was a congresswoman.
Maybe she's 3 terms Congress. I'm sorry. She's saying she will not run for the Senate. Basically pissed off at what's going on in the Senate.
Well, she was pushing for the Senate, but the Republicans kind of frowned on it because they were worried that because she's so divisive that they would lose their chances of gaining a Senate seat if she ran.
All right. I mean, the Republicans can do what they want, I guess, but this is, oh my God, it's just frustrating, man. Because I mean, look, the Democrats are probably going to run AOC, or at least she's going to try to become president. You know that.
Yeah.
Whether or not she gets the nomination, but like, she's not going to get the vote from the people, and you know that.
No.
I mean, the only way she would possibly win presidency is if the Republicans also ran a president who was stupid. Not ran a female who was stupid, But whatever. Did you see what happened in Jersey concerning the migration crap?
Oh, the mayor got arrested?
Mayor got arrested, and some Congress members in New Jersey got arrested.
I thought
trespassing.
Get arrested. Yeah.
Is that insurrection?
What's that?
Is that insurrection?
Well, they got trespassing on ICE property, and like he's saying, like, oh, we have every right to come in here, and they're like, no, this is federal property, not state property.
Was it 1 mayor and 2 Congress people?
Yeah. And why are these folks working so hard to keep illegal migrants in this country?
No, I think eventually there's going to be amnesty, and they're going to be Democrat voters.
Even if they're not amnesty. Even if they're not going to get amnesty, they're still going to be counted on the census.
They're already counted on the census.
Well, when's the next census come out? It's every 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, 2 years before the census, how about all these red states go out and collect all these illegal migrants, put them in their state, in their red states for the census. And as soon as they're counted, send them right back to the blue states. So all these red states get an extra congressional seat and extra electoral votes for 10 years. And then leave the shit that they're causing, burning houses down and killing people in these blue cities.
I like that.
Hmm.
How much would
That's
that
got
piss off
potential.
the Dems?
That's got potential.
Yeah. It would piss off the Dems to no end. Be like, oh, you just want the votes. Like, well, you're the one bringing them into the country, you know?
You left the gate open.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit. A judge right now just told Trump to immediately resettle 12,000 migrants. Why? Besides, we're gonna get some extra votes for president.
Hold on, hold
you
on.
know?
Did he say resettled migrant? Did he say where?
Federal
Hold on.
federal
federal
judge
judge?
on Monday immediately settles in the U.S. under a court order that partially blocks Trump executive order aimed at halting the refugee admission program. Judge Jamal Whitehead, a 2023 appointee of former President Joe Biden, issued the order despite Trump administration during a hearing last week that should only have to process 160 refugees into the country and would likely appeal any order requiring thousands to be admitted. The court will not entertain the government's result-oriented rewriting of a judicial order that clearly says what it is, Whitehead wrote Monday. The government is free, of course, to seek further clarification from the Ninth Circuit, but the government is not free to disobey statutory and constitutional law and the direct orders of this court and the Ninth Circuit while it seeks such clarification. These folks don't understand how this works. You can't just say, let people into this country illegally.
Mhm.
Like, how many times do we see people say, like, these migrants didn't commit any crime? Like, coming across the border illegally is a crime.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a federal crime too, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, like, they're thinking we're talking about just any migrant, like, who, you know what I mean? It's like, no, we're talking about people, gang members who came across the border and are beating their wives. And you're saying, go back to jail in El Salvador and bring them back. This is ridiculous. Ludicrous, even. Did we talk about this $1,000 stipend, or did that happen since last episode?
I think that happened since the last episode.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about it.
Yeah, Trump's offering $1,000 stipend for self-deportation of these illegal migrants.
And why I think people may take him up on that is because there is a clause in it that you can reapply for immigration down the road.
But if you get deported, you won't get the money and you're not welcome back.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's a decent idea, and it costs less than $1,000. I mean, it costs more than $1,000 to deport someone anyway.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
like, everybody wins this way, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's no housing, anything, just send it back.
The funny thing about it is the Democrats are kicking up a stink, but look how much money they've spent on illegals alone just for housing, and how many veterans are still out in the streets. Right?
And exactly. They keep talking like, oh, there's all these empty houses. We should put these homeless people in there. Then you go and bring in illegal migrants and put them in like classy hotels and leave, the one-legged veteran on the side of the road to die. It's infuriating.
So $1,000 to, like self-deport yourself compared to the money they've spent on illegals already, mate, it's like pissing in the ocean.
Piss on the ocean.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, a multi-agency operation has targeted the Sinaloa cartel in five different states. It's the largest seizure of fentanyl in U.S. history, and it is a Mexican cartel. It is, quote, one of the largest and most dangerous and foreign terrorist organizations in our country, according to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. This happened right after Mexico said they refused to help us get the cartels.
Yep.
So, what are we supposed to do about Mexico?
Love them.
It's just, it's starting to seem a little crazy, man.
You think the Mexican president might be getting a little bit spooked, mate, by the cartels?
That's why she's in office now, because they killed all the other folks that didn't support the cartel.
Right.
How many of them were killed? Like 30 something?
It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all pretending like this isn't an issue. It's not a crime. I'm like, you guys are fucking nuts and you don't care. Now Rubio is talking about having a look at the visa status of these broke Palestinian thugs
Uh-huh.
that were
Wow.
busted at Columbia University.
Yeah.
You can revoke these visas at any time, right?
Yes.
For anything.
Student visas, you can definitely revoke at any time.
I don't see what the problem is then.
Oh, the courts are going to get involved and try to drag it out. Like
Yeah, but
they
that's
always
the
do.
problem is the courts don't have a say. Like, how does a circuit court judge, a district court judge, have more authority than the president of the United States?
That's the question of the day.
Like, they made a big deal. They all came out tooting their horn, cheering when they said the Supreme Court said Trump can't use the Alien Enemies Act or whatever. All they did was said we need to delay this and have a good read, and then they came out and said, "Yeah, no, you can do that. Go ahead."
Yep.
These folks don't bother to pay attention. They don't care. They just know they hate Trump. But I tell you what, you put one of these gang members in the house next to them,
Oh,
they're gonna
they're all freaking out.
they'll change their minds, just like what happened in Martha's Vineyard, right?
Yep.
Yep.
They
Has
were off
Congress
that
passed
island before
legislation?
most people were awake.
Yeah. They scooted them off pretty quick, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, Martha's Vineyard's wealthy. So I mean, they're not sending them to the rich areas. The Democrats are sending them to the poor areas, like Roxbury and Boston, instead of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Cape Cod. Oprah Winfrey and Barack Obama own property on Martha's Vineyard.
Has Congress passed that legislation about district court judges and all lower court judges
They're
can't
working
interfere
on
with?
it. They're
Are
working
they
on it.
still working on it? Are they?
Yeah. I think it
Well, I
passed in
heard
the
they were
House.
progressing with that.
In the Senate, it's less likely to pass. So,
Yeah.
but I know in the House, the law that passed was basically said that district court judges can only control
Their
court
district.
cases in their district. They can't issue nationwide injunctions.
Well, that's the issue. Is they keep talking about these nationwide injunctions. Where in the Constitution say a court has the authority to do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Supreme Court.
But that's not even an injunction. The Supreme Court comes out and says you can't do that at all. Not we need an injunction to stop you. And plus, a judge is only supposed to have the authority over the people in his courtroom or
Right.
in a class action suit.
And that's why I believe in the future that the Supreme Court will rule in favor of Trump and these like district court judges that are trying to do nationwide injunctions.
Well, I'm curious to see what's going to happen when the Democrats take office next time.
They're going to pack the court.
Not just that,
Yep.
but I'm wondering how many of these Republican judges are going to be like, nope, nope, nope. And every time they say you
None.
can't do that, every time they say you can't do that, they're going to point at when the Democrats did it over and over
None.
again. Of course not, because the Republicans have no fucking spines. They have no balls, and you know it. Meanwhile, you got these Democrat judges helping people escape out their courtroom to evade the law enforcement, keeping people in their guest homes with their children. Come on.
Give them rifle practice, eh?
Yeah. yeah, exactly. Then handing them a rifle that all Democrats are saying should be illegal in this country. This video of this guy firing off an AR-15 with a suppressor. And it's like, you won't let me get one. Granted, they can't stop me, but they say I shouldn't be allowed to have one, but this gang member can. And it's like, what the fuck? How? It's this double speak, man. It's so obvious. It's right there in front of all of us, and no one seems to give a shit unless they're actually paying attention. And if you do pay attention, you're some kind of conspiracy theorist. Like, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's happening right there. You know?
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about Colombia, they ended up cutting around 180 staff members after the federal grants were revoked concerning their migration and Palestinian and et cetera stuff going on. So it looks like cutting this funding may actually start working because everyone was trying to say the federal government had no authority to not give out money to private schools.
Right.
Same thing just happened at Harvard, except they're not eligible for future grants. Don't know why you can't cut what they're already getting, especially considering Harvard brings in more in endowments than they do in tuition. But they're sitting on billions of dollars of tax-free money from endowments. What are they doing with all that money?
Investing it.
No,
What?
they just brainwash it. No, they were like buying all this stupid shit that nobody needs and stuff, like a fucking lazy river, fucking chocolate water, chocolate fountains and stuff like that, cheese
That's
fountain.
that's still not going to be billions of dollars, though.
And then you had to hire all this stupid teachers
Oh,
there for all
extra
the
staff, that's for sure.
yeah.
Their staff outnumbers their student body, which is insane. But Linda McMahon came out, tore Harvard a new one, said, "Don't even bother filing for future grants. Don't.
Yeah,
It's
because
just a
you're not
waste of
gonna
your
get
time."
them.
All right. Meanwhile, did you see the shit that happened at the University of Washington?
No.
Oh, Antifa took over buildings, uh, demanding all sorts of crazy stuff. Oh, Guapo's already leaving? That's too bad. All right, man. Well, thanks
Yeah,
for coming by.
long day, man, long day.
I
All
got
right,
you.
all right.
But yeah, they set fires, occupied a building, tried to burn the building down. Luckily, it was made of like stone and steel. But they put out the dumbest arguments. Of course, they won't load up. It never does when I want to find the fact or the details.
Nothing but the facts.
Yeah, $100 million price tag. Check this out. The building was just opened a few weeks ago, and they already destroyed it, right? And it was funded by private donors, taxpayers, and a federal grant. Amazon, T-Mobile, and Boeing. And one of the things that they made a big deal about was that Boeing shouldn't be involved at all. And so, like, we're going to burn everything down. It's like, well, fuck you. We're not giving you money to build another one to burn it down again, right?
Right.
And what did Boeing do that's pissing off Antifa? Boeing, if anything, is pissing off the right wing because their aircraft keep failing and we keep buying more for the military. Whatever. And these trans athletes in girls' sports, especially track in Maine, is becoming a bigger and bigger issue
Yeah, because
all the
Maine's
time.
one of the few states that are refusing to follow the Trump edict where women run women's sports and men run men's sports.
Well, why have different categories if it doesn't matter?
It matters. And we both know that.
So that's why there's different categories, right?
Exactly.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna remove Guapo, but it says that he won't be allowed back in if he changes his mind.
Right. Was he
Oh,
not floating around? Thought he was
well,
gone.
yeah, he said he had a long day, he was done. Oh, look at that. And our Australian bounced too.
Huh.
Right. So what do you think of Trump's threat to reopen Alcatraz? Which I got a
I
good
mean,
laugh
I
out
think
of.
it's a bunch of Trumpness. That's never gonna happen. I know where he's coming from. I like the idea, but but Alcatraz ain't the place to do it. I mean, it's a national park. They're gonna have to like give it up national park. I've been there as when it was a national park years ago, and ain't nothing up to code in that prison.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's supposed to be a fear thing. Like, we'll put you in this next to inescapable place.
Right.
And this would be the worst of, you know what? Fine. You don't want to go to Alcatraz? Fine. We have Guantanamo Bay we can send the worst Americans to. How's that?
Yeah.
This that which is worse to the average American, Guantanamo Bay or Alcatraz?
What tunnel of it?
Yeah, I'd rather be in Alcatraz, that's for sure. But whatever. And again, like you said, I don't think it's actually going to happen.
I mean,
But
even if he got the ball rolling, they got to tear down the old prison. They got to jump through a bunch of red tape, and then they got approved funding for a new prison to be built. It ain't gonna happen before he's out of office.
Why you gotta tear it down? Why can't you just update the locking systems?
It's more than just that.
Saying they've kept it up to code for the most part to be a
No,
museum.
they haven't. They just let people come in and see what it was like back in the day when, people were there.
All right. So what's up with Trump putting Fox News people
Oh, he
in
loves the Fox News people.
in high positions? But Janine Pirro now is interim top prosecutor in DC.
Yeah, because what's his face in South Carolina said he wasn't gonna vote for his acting DC Attorney General.
In Hillis, wasn't it?
Tillis, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what I think of Judge Janine anyway. She's very opinionated, but the same way Ben Shapiro is. Like, I may not like the way she's going about half of it, but I have a tough time proving her wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right. You see this giant arrest the FBI pulled off concerning child sex?
Yes.
Patel and Bondi were involved. 205 were arrested nationwide.
Yep.
But what gets me is, I don't know, did you see the new James O'Keefe stuff, the O'Keefe media thing?
No.
Uh, it would
You
appear
didn't
that
share it in the document, so
I know, but they basically one of the guys who worked for the Crown said, was it Prince Andrew was the one accused of the diddling kids with uh
yeah.
Epstein?
Yep.
This dude who worked for the Crown was like, "Oh no, what happened? The whole Crown knew. That's why he lost all of this, stuff and lost his title." But then it turns out another one that O'Keefe did. He's almost certain Pam Bondi knew about this and didn't release this information,
Hmm.
and it's pretty messed up.
Oh yeah, because I'd rather have the information early on in front of me, and then I can go pass out and go to bed type deal.
Yeah. But yeah, 205 nationwide involved in this FBI child sex operation. I anyone who's here illegally, I say just kick them out.
Yeah.
Anyone who is an American citizen, you should go to prison forever. You know,
Yep.
and that's only assuming you sell someone else out, because if you don't, you just get executed. Don't be touching children. That's just the way I see it. You know. Oh, Brian's gonna pass out. This is unfortunate for everyone.
No, it's not. People love it when I pass out.
Okay, so this happened in Chicago. You shared it, and I was real surprised. Tell me what happened there.
An armored truck got robbed outside of a Chicago area bank.
Jeez, in broad daylight at
Yep.
gunpoint, right?
Yeah.
Jeez
I
Louise,
didn't
that
know that. I know the driver's always in the truck, and then there's the relay guy that goes in and gets the bags of cash. They take it to the truck. I didn't know that if there's a robbery going on, that the driver is going to open up the back of the truck for the robber type deal.
should have driven away as soon as he realized there was a problem, taking the money with him. But
Yep.
and I don't know what company it was, but I know at least back in the day after the big Brinks robbery, they started keeping the guy in the back with the cash, holding the shotgun. So I'm not sure who's transporting this money, but that just goes to show you,
It
Illinois.
wasn't covered in the article. So,
Yeah, Illinois doesn't care about actual crime. They care about taxing the people and letting illegals move in.
yep.
Uh, Speaking of criminals, the Department of Justice has opened their investigation into the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James.
Yep.
This is concerning her lying about mortgages and such, right?
Yep.
Exactly what she accused Trump of, except her crimes are
I,
higher caliber than Trump's.
they're more legitimate. Yeah.
And check this out: the New York's taxpayers are going to be on the hook for paying her defense bills.
Of course they are.
What the hell is that? How furious would you be as a New Yorker to hear that This person who accused Trump of doing all this stuff was doing it herself the whole time, and now we're going to do everything we can to keep her from getting put in prison for it.
That's all how the contracts are written. So it's bullshit, but that's how it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing. Exactly what we said is, accuse them of what you're doing, right?
Hmm.
And she's pretty much on the hook for this. Like she said, she was serving as the attorney general when she bought a house in Virginia and said, "This is my primary residence," so she would pay a lower mortgage. And she lied about the number of structures on the property.
Yes, it is.
This is a big deal.
Yep.
And
Said she married her father.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, she put out that she was her father's wife.
Breaking up that pretty bad there. Okay, and Brian, you shared this one. Tell me what's going on with Amtrak.
Yeah, they have been built out of at least $12 million from 119 employees and doctors in a fraud scheme. What basically they were like saying they're out of work so they can get workman's comp and all these other things, all these other bennies, even though they continue to go to work. So
And some of
apparently
them,
there's no communication between the disability people of Amtrak the and the actual workers of Amtrak.
and this would be a civil suit, not a legal case, probably, or the
Probably.
fraud, or is fraud going to go straight to a
Fraud
criminal
might
court?
make it criminal, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a lot of money disappear from a train company.
Oh yeah.
And doctors, it says at least 119 employees, comma, doctors. Does that mean that these doctors were signing paperwork knowing that these guys were bilking the system?
No, not necessarily.
All right. All right. So it looks like Trump is ready to stop bombing the Houthis.
We shall see.
Yeah. Talking about if they end the shipping attacks, I don't know if the Houthis will stop the attacks, but they're getting hurt pretty bad with these bombings. Uh, and I didn't put them in the order I wanted to, so I'm going to skip down
All right.
to the bottom two on this wars thing because it's still American. The issue we're having with the Houthis right now is we just dropped another fucking fighter jet into the ocean by accident.
Sure, it was by accident.
What the hell is going on?
Was it another high-speed maneuver?
It hasn't been released yet. What happened?
So, let me ask you this. The CO got fired more than likely the first time a jet happened. Do you think they fired the carrier air wing guy this time? The Admiral?
No idea what's going to happen, but we have to stop dropping. What are they, 30, $60 million a piece
Oh, easy. Easy.
to the bottom of the ocean? This is insane. If this is going to be an issue, then we need to figure out how to secure these better, right?
Well, I know in the first jet they were moving it when they had to do a high-speed turn.
We don't think that's going to happen in an actual war situation. If we actually get into an actual full open conflict, are we just going to drop all the jets in the ocean because, oh, we have to turn to avoid an incoming missile?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But the Supreme Court did come in and say Trump can ban transgender troops.
Yep. And you had a personal experience with that.
Me?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I don't remember. I might be
I mean,
drunk.
yeah, our dirty tranny was out of the service before the transition happened.
Yeah.
Uh, what drove me nuts about this was they saying all means all, like everyone can serve, and it's like, so what? The paranoid schizophrenic paraplegic
Right.
should
No,
be on
they can't be served. They can't serve. There's no way.
You don't let diabetics in because they need medication. These trans folks that are actually transitioning versus identify the other way have to take medication every day. Where are you going to keep this medication when you're on the front line with the Marine Corps?
Mhm.
Are you carrying pills instead of ammunition? or needles. I don't know what kind of medication they're taking, honestly. All right. What's going on in India and Pakistan, man? This isn't being
They've got
covered enough.
escalating tensions going on because they're saying that there was a terrorist attack in Kashmir, so they're going back and forth. And apparently, 125 jets have clashed in one of the largest dogfights in history between the two.
It's the biggest one since World War II. When was the last time you heard of aircraft shooting at each other?
Red Baron.
Yeah, exactly. World War II, right?
Yeah.
Uh, this is insane. Pakistan saying they shot down a bunch of these Indian aircraft. India hasn't responded yet. Moscow is telling India and Pakistan to calm down and show restraint before this gets out of control.
Right.
But what this will be the fourth war India and Pakistan have been in since like the 50s.
The problem is they both have nukes.
Yes, I did some reading on that. Don't get me wrong, any nuclear weapon is a serious weapon, but their biggest bombs are smaller than Fat Man.
Okay.
But yeah, you drop 5 or 6 of those in an area, you know what I mean? You can still wipe out entire cities. Uh man, and last thing we need is nuclear bombs to start going off. And here's the funny thing: India and Pakistan has a similar history as Gaza and Israel.
Yeah.
It was a two-state solution, and the Hindus stayed here, the Muslims went there. But just like Gaza, the Muslims say no, it's ours, and go and commit attacks, and people take their side anyway. It's getting ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
But as I mentioned, Israel, they're vowing like retaliation / revenge against Iran and Yemen's Houthis
Yeah.
over airport attacks. And the United States has come out and said flat out, we're not starting a war with Iran. Like, you can do it, but we're not getting involved.
Right.
And this is what blows my
And
mind about
I
these.
think this is what Iran wants, though. In the end, they want us involved in it. So, like, more substantially. They obviously they know we're involved already, but you know.
Well, what is Iran gonna do, honestly? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not Afghanistan, it's mountainous, and it's not gonna be just blow up the desert. But Iran's
Okay.
weaponry is still inferior compared to the United States,
All
you
right.
know? But they're angry people chanting death to America. And when you point this out to the left, they're like, oh, that's not what it really means. Like, I don't know what death to America means besides death to America. You know? Eh. Anything else you have to say about the current state of war and what's going on in the world? Now, here's one thing that I've been hearing is people are saying, well, what's going to be the event that gets the United States involved in making a world war? Because it took the United States being attacked to get involved in the first 2 world wars.
Mm-hmm.
Who says it's going to be all these nations fighting one giant conflict versus 10 different wars happening at the same time with people dipping their fingers and toes into different pots? Like, what are the odds China takes Pakistan side in this war with India? I think Brian just passed out, or he's about
No,
to.
I'm still. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you say that, mate. Half of India's military might come from Russia. They buy half their bloody weaponry from Russia. India?
Yeah, I think they're flying MiGs, aren't they? I'm not sure, honestly, but I will say that you look at Russia, you look at China, you look at the United States, their militaries look organized and trained and efficient. Have you seen these Indian or Pakistani armies?
Yeah, I saw them this morning, but I shipped them on back to the freezer.
I'm just saying they're dressed like Boy Scouts. And shit, the Pakistanis and the Indians were fighting each other on the border for what, a decade with sticks.
Yeah.
And I tried to listen to the new No Agenda show. I think I've given up on those guys, dude.
All right.
They get too crazy. I think I listened to like 40 minutes of it today, and I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. But I don't know. I'm concerned that the entire world erupts into a whole bunch of mini conflicts, and no one wants to do trade with this nation anymore. Okay, I may be friends with India, but India is fighting Pakistan, who's friends with China, and we don't need China getting involved because we're doing trade with India, which I think is a big reason why China's getting involved with Pakistan. Is because a whole bunch of production just moved out of China into India because of
Right.
the tariffs the United States put on them.
Yeah.
These are things that people aren't noticing and aren't drawn connecting the dots. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Hegseth's ordering the Pentagon to cut down senior generals by 20%.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Maybe not, but I think we need to spend more money in the military. And we did just up it some. But with everything that's happening, I'd
Do you
like to
spend
see
it on generals or do you spend it on lower level enlisted?
I would say some enlisted, but more than anything, new weaponry.
Okay.
More weaponry. Because we just went up to $855 billion a year, I think. I'd like to see it $1 trillion with what's going on right now. But that's just me. I'm concerned about an actual war breaking out, and I don't want to be the jackass sitting in my house with a shotgun waiting for some dumbass to come down and say something stupid and start a fight, you know? All right, Brian, anything here in leftovers you want to talk about? Maybe Biden talking, trashing Trump in international interviews, or him
He's
telling The View.
trying to. I don't know that he's doing a great job of it.
Well, it's funny because when he went on The View, oh shit, when he went on The View, he said he wasn't surprised that Harris lost to Trump, which is funny because he earlier said that he thought Harris would beat Trump after she already lost. Oh, she could beat him. It's like, well, she already lost.
I don't care.
But what's her name there? Was it Joy?
Do
Which one?
bad?
Yeah, the redhead, right?
Yeah.
She was shocked, apparently, at his inability to communicate and speak English. Yeah,
Who, Biden?
and going around in the dude from Axios just got an award from some journalist organization because he said, "Wow, we really missed Joe being out of his mind and being incompetent."
Right.
It's like, what are you talking about? Everyone besides you said this. Well, anyway, we've unveiled Biden. Yeah, Biden. Trump has unveiled a trade agreement with Britain,
Yep.
which is good. And it's funny that China's exports to the U.S. have plunged because of these tariffs. All
Yep.
China had to do was come to the table, and they refused to, and they retaliated. So Trump doubled down.
Yeah, because they thought they had the better hand, like a poker term, you know.
Yep. The problem is they're selling us fucking teddy bears and gadgets. You know, you're not buying your
Man,
cars.
we can live out without all that shit if we absolutely have to. We don't want to, we don't need to, but those are all luxury items.
Yeah, it's not like your car
Right.
or food or
Yeah,
even the weaponry the United States makes for DOD.
exactly.
I don't know if anyone knows this. I think there's only one company the United States buys weapons from that's not American. It's British, and they make the weapons in the United States and have signed all sorts of paperwork saying they're not allowed to make these weapons for anyone else. They have to make them for the U.S., and the U.S. can sell them as they see fit. Crazy stuff. I can't remember the name of the company, but it's up there with like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman. All right. What else is going on? Oh, bird flu is spreading. They want us all concerned about bird flu. As far as I'm aware, only one person in the last like 10 years has actually contracted bird flu. And none have, or maybe one person died. But that's when Biden went and culled all the chickens and then said, "Hey, look at the price of eggs going up under Trump." It's like, well, Biden, you killed all the chickens. Where the fuck do you think the eggs come from? And these guys that vote for him don't put the two together. Like, well, there's new chickens. Yeah, it takes them like an entire year to get big enough to lay an egg, you know? Disney's opening a park in Abu Dhabi, which I'm laughing my ass off because Disney's super woke and Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi will put you in prison.
because they were all about the "don't say gay" thing. They're threatening to move out of Florida for all the DeSantis thing he put in place, even though
Yeah, but that
the
they
whole
never said
thing was
that though.
misconstrued. It was all about woke, and now they're talking about moving to a place where if you admit you're homosexual, you're going to be beheaded.
Yeah, and this is no shit. The wife who actually went to Abu Dhabi in the Air Force,
Okay.
and it's funny because she still brings it up. She's like, she didn't think Abu Dhabi was a real place. She thought Garfield, the cartoon, had made it up because Garfield kept shipping Nermal to Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Don't know if you remember Garfield, but
I
but
do.
yeah,
I got a Garfield cat.
yeah. Well, it was funny because she still says stuff like, like you don't just go out into Abu Dhabi as a white American woman.
No, you got to be in like your burqa
Yeah, or in a group of a whole bunch of American men who will do something to, you know what I mean?
to offend you.
Yeah, and it's crazy that like, oh, everyone's equal. It's like, I don't know, man. They see a large-breasted white woman in Abu Dhabi, they're gonna rape and probably kill her.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of the culture there, especially because she's not dressed up in a burqa. So
Right.
she must be some kind of hoe who wants to get railed out by random dudes, right?
Yep.
Same argument that leftists are making about these women, like, oh, you can't rape her just in an alley just because she's wearing a dress with her ass hanging out. It's like I agree, but you're saying that not Pakistanis, the Middle Eastern Muslims can, and she's not even got her ass hanging out. She's wearing like jeans and a long sleeve shirt, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can see her eyes; they're blue. I mentioned bird flu.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about at all in here?
Uh, we don't have much left, so
No, really, the only thing left is the Paramount dealing with CBS because they're being sued.
yeah. Paramount's trying. I mean, people are leaving 60 Minutes because they don't feel like they don't have their autonomy anymore. Blah 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 blah. You know, that's what happens when you misreport the news and somebody tries to hold you accountable. You know.
Well, didn't they just give themselves an award about the Joe Biden interview they did
I'm sure they did.
as they're being sued for the Kamala Harris video that they clearly manipulated?
I'm sure they did.
Crazy shit. Crazy shit. This was a short one. We got through it quicker than usual. Not a
Yeah.
lot of sidestepping, which is funny because we've been having issues going way
What a
too long
3 hour show.
when it's 4 pages, but we go through 3 pages in under an hour. So
I think it
one
has to do with who's on the episode with us. So
possibly, and it has a lot to do that a lot of this stuff was like each one was like related to the one previous
and
and the next one.
you did a fantastic job of lumping it all together. So
I do what I can. Still pissed off about this fucking warrant Massachusetts sent me.
what do you got to reply back to it?
The wife contacted him and check this out. Like, well, can you give us your license number? And she's like, okay. I'm like, well, that's not a Massachusetts license. She goes, I don't live in
Exactly.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, man. I guess that's our show.
All right.